What's up, mofos? The time has finally come. Job for a Cowboy. The Agony Seeping Storm. This is the first release they've had in almost 10 years.
Holy shit.
Kind of a big deal, dude. Peak fucking MySpace deathcore during the time. And then they kind of moved into like more of a proggy death metal route, which I really enjoyed. Love me some prog and I love me some death metal. And nobody does it better than Job for a Cowboy, man.
I know a lot of people are very excited about this coming because this, when we first started doing the podcast, we asked on Reddit and stuff like, what are some albums that you guys are looking forward to this year? And Job for a Cowboy was like something. I think it's been teased that they might be doing something. So hopefully this is the first release off what will be a new album. Yeah, for me, Job for a Cowboy, they were too much for me at the time when they were at peak. Yeah, I didn't get it. And it's a band I had to go back years later and get. And same thing with Whitechapel. They were too much for me at the time. I was more into like Parkway, Reflections, that stuff. So for some reason, they never caught my attention until more recently. I'd say in the last I'd say 6 years.
This is one of those bands, though. I don't think they're really ever going to go the route that Whitechapel did. There's going to be some element that just remains heavy as balls.
Yeah,
for Job
it's
for a
like
Cowboy.
Extreme. But I do have to say, there's not a lot of bands that sound like Job for a Cowboy. They get referenced in a lot of different like subreddits or different pages or fan pages or whatever of different genres, because they kind of fall in a little bit of everything because they just have their own thing going on. Even though it's like progressive deathy, but it's still Job for a Cowboy. That's the only way you can call it. I'm excited to see what they come up with and what this time away has done for them. Do they need to kick off the dust a little bit? Is that what we're about to see? Or are we about to see 10 years? I don't think so, man.
I think they're going to come out swinging with this one. I don't think they would release something unless they knew they had some gold. I can't say why there was such a long hiatus, if there was like some issues with, internally with the band or members. I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, go ahead and enlighten us, put it down in the comment section. But I'm excited to get right into it. Based off the thumbnail, though, it kind of looks like we're getting some Pan's Labyrinth Guillermo del Toro vibes with the eyeball in the palm of the hand.
So Ryan from Cattle Decap, you mentioned this too. He actually in an interview talked about Job for a Cowboy. His synopsis on the band was like, it was just timing is really the secret to their success. It's not that they weren't good or anything. It was just like, for some reason, their sound just hit at the right time. Because I think Cattle Decap took a little bit of a hiatus and came back or something like that. And Job for a Cowboy had blown up in that time. And they knew them before and after the blow up. So it's kind of interesting. So will it be their time?
The way that Travis had explained it in the interview.
Travis, not Ryan. Yeah.
Well, it's Travis Ryan. But,
okay, I got it mixed up.
He had explained it how Job for a Cowboy started coming up. And so all these other bands, colleagues of his and peers, were saying, you should take this band out on tour with you. And I guess they had never really gotten around to it, or something had happened. But then like in just few years, like they went from like potentially opening up for Cattle Decapitation to now Cattle Decap is opening up for Job for a Cowboy.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably like a very humbling moment for him. He was like, oh shit, like it can change real fucking quick. The people can just skyrocket to success, but they deserve it. And I hope this is them making a steamrolling comeback. So without further ado, let's do it.
Adieu. Got some conspiracy theory. Oh, dude. just let the first hit kick in, man.
Don't fake. You just vaped some DMT. Ooh, that's a sick progression, dude. Ooh, some love for the bass.
Like being John Malkovich. Well, vinegar strokes. Oh. La, 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 la. Okay.
It's a tough way to be brought in, dude.
Getting tongue raped by an alien and then being born. No wonder fucking people are born with trauma.
Yeah, no shit. That was fucking sick, dude.
Now that I've taken the like road down with like death metal, like progressive and technical, I could see how they fall into that quite a bit. Like that could be right up there with like Zenith Passage. Not that it sounds the same, but it's in the same vein of music.
Definitely leaning more towards like the prog death metal, just like straight up prog.
Definitely more proggy.
They've come a long way since Entombment of a Machine. Yeah, I think they just reached a certain point where they just felt maybe held back by deathcore and just wanted to explore the prog death metal. And I thought it was great. And you know what? I'm really thankful for us diving into, Cattle Decap prior to this, because now I'm able to appreciate this even more because of bands like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I thought it was good. I have to listen to that like 2 or 3 more times, though, I think, to appreciate it. There was a lot going on. It was almost kind of tribal in a way in terms of the beat and stuff. At least I caught a little bit of that. But I did like what he was doing with the guitar. I mean, it was job for a cowboy, though. Definitely nothing over the top new compared to what they've done in the past. A little bit more going back to their roots, possibly.
I probably should have known better because, like I was saying before, they've kind of moved past deathcore. I was anticipating this to be a little bit heavier than it was, but I was actually pleasantly surprised with the overall outcome of it. I'm sure whatever they plan to bring out is going to be great. And I mean, if it's just more of that then it's going to be in my top 5 probably for albums of the year.
And that's just the first release. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're throwing out. So who knows what they'll come out with after that. We'll see if they get experimental. Typically bands at this point in their life cycle start experimenting with a lot more new sounds because they're give a fuck of what people think usually drops at this point. It's like, let's just make music, the music we want to make. And I'm not saying they're going to take a turn like Whitechapel, but I felt like that's what Whitechapel did. They're like, there's this whole all these other sounds that we can explore. And I feel like they wanted, in the beginning, they wanted to stick to like, this is what we know works. And then once they reached a certain level, they went, okay, yeah, but I still want to explore all this other shit. I mean, I still think that the song Kin off the title track off that album, that's a fucking masterpiece. And it's,
yeah, for sure.
If you went back to like MySpace deathcore days and heard that song, you would never guess that it was fucking Whitechapel.
No, not at all.
It doesn't even relate to early Whitechapel, but it's a fucking masterpiece nonetheless.
I think all bands want to experiment. If you're really a musician, I think every band, after, a certain amount of time, you want to experiment and incorporate new things in their music. It's just some do it, have a better vision of that and execute it, better. It's like we go back to like Suicide Silence trying to do like kind of Deftones, like new metal in their music, and it fucking flopped hard. Like people were not here for it. And maybe it was because of that time too. Maybe there could have been so many factors, but I agree with you that Job for a Cowboy is one of those bands that like, even if they were doing something that people didn't like, they probably wouldn't give a fuck anyways. Like
it's just more Job for a Cowboy at this point. People are pretty stoked about it regardless. And I think that the early like super gatekeepy part of like deathcore and all that is kind of like all those people have aged and are willing to let their favorite musicians and bands grow and progress. So there's a lot of that acceptance out there. They're still gatekeepers, mainly baby metal fans. The whole foxhole, they're a bunch of fucking gatekeepers.
It's a fucking cult, dude. Anyways.
It is definitely a cult.
Hey guys, if you have some more like Job for a Cowboy bangers that we should check out, list them down in the comments. I'm excited to see what else really dive in and explore their discography. So point me in the right direction. If you like the video, you like the reaction, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. We're almost to 1,000. Help us out. And we will see you motherfuckers next time.
Peace out.